Hi there. Welcome to Friday's Devotional. How many of you keep good things to yourself? My guess is not very many. And my guess is if you find something that really works for you, say you bought a new product. Like I know when I bought an Instant Pot and learned how to use it, it was like, oh, I have to tell everybody about this. Or maybe you're like my husband, and when you find a good sale at Canadian Tire that it's like $100 off the regular price, he wants to tell his friends about the new tool that he found there and that they can get one too. And maybe when you meet somebody new and you're like, oh, they would be such good friends with so and so, I want to introduce them and help them kind of connect. We tend to do that. We tend to want to share with other people when we find good things. But how often do we do that when God does something in our life? I know that's kind of a confronting change of subject here, but how many times do you tell people when God answers a prayer? How many times do you share that with, maybe you've been working through a struggle, maybe there's a temptation that you've been really wrestling with, and he gives you direction or clarity or freedom from that. Maybe there's something that's really hard in your past that he has redeemed and restored and given life to in a new way. Do you keep that to yourself? My guess is that we sometimes wrestle with how to do that, or where do we even begin to do that. And specifically, what kind of started me on this train of thought is we had the week of prayer and fasting a couple weeks ago. And I know for many of you, you engaged with this, you dove into it and did, even if it was one meal, you engaged with that process. And what I'm wanting to ask you today is, how many people have you told about your experience of that week? How many people have you told about maybe the ways that God answered your prayers or shifted something even in your perspective that week? If you're like me, I'm going to be honest, I think I've only told a couple people what that week was like for me. So this is as much for myself as it is for you. But I think back to the story of the woman at the well that Jesus encountered in John chapter 4, the Samaritan woman who had been ostracized by her community and ridiculed because of her life choices and her life experiences. But when she encountered Jesus, she not only dropped everything, but she turned and ran to the people who had been ridiculing her, which seems like just a ridiculous thing. Like, I don't necessarily want to run to the people who are making fun of me to tell them what God is doing in my life. But that's what she did. And because of that, so many lives were changed and transformed because they also then were led into the presence of Jesus. So for us as a church, for us as, believers, and even for you and your group of friends, who else needs to hear something about your experience so that they can also experience Jesus in that way? Maybe there's something in your story, your experience, your encounter with Jesus that would help somebody else in their faith journey with God. Maybe through your experience, they would see him in a new way. And what a radical thing that is to think about, that you could open somebody's eyes to see, hey, I experienced Jesus in this way. You can know him in this way too. And yet, so for many of us, we'd rather tell them about the sale at the store or the new kitchen gadget we have than to tell them about the risen Savior that we encountered in our prayer time 2 weeks ago. Why is that? Why do we default that way? And so this is my challenge for myself and for you, and an invitation really at the heart of it, is to invite you to share your story, your experience of what God has been doing in your life. And specifically, even if you think about the week of prayer and fasting, what did God do during that week that you want to share? And we would like to invite you to send in a video, about 30 to 60 second video, to the church office. And we would love to be able to share that with our church. We would love to be able to share that experience, and so that you can tell others and proclaim and testify for the goodness of Jesus and what he has done for you. So if you have any questions about this, if you want even some help in kind of formulating your story or what you want to say, we would love to help you do that. We want to be able to support and guide you through that process. Or if you have any questions about what the best way to send it in, that's okay too. You can contact the church office as well. And we would just love to be able to support you in sharing your testimony with other believers. So that is what I have for us today, friends. And when I say us, it's very much I'm going to go tell somebody about my experience of what God has shown me the last couple weeks, and it's a good encouragement for me as well. So blessings to you this weekend. Have a great rest of your day on this Friday, and until next time, God bless.